in 2020, GWA went out for a bond issuance. It was both new money as well as a refi. The lawsuit was on the books at that point in time, and so it had gotten started, and so that was disclosed in the 2020. It's called the official statement. It's the preliminary offering, or the POS. The POS. Yeah, the POS, the preliminary offering statement, or the preliminary offering statement is what goes out to investors before they buy the bond.
Okay.
And then, so that's like a draft. And then the OS, which is the official statement, is what is that is what's used with the bond indenture, which is the contract.
Okay.
And so it was disclosed in 2020 that they had entered into this particular litigation. Okay. And then up until then, I think, so there was some, I believe there was conversation with, there may have been, I'm sure there's been conversation with, between GWA and bond counsel.
Okay.
And I can ask Tina if, what was the discussion there. But I believe the summary of the discussion was, if things are kind of still in play, if there's appeals, et cetera, that are happening, then there's no actual, at that point in time, there's no amount there's not a judgment amount.
Sure.
And so therefore, the impact is not yet known, to the bond. And then after that, if let's say that GWA ended up having to pay, then at that point in time, that then is disclosed. If it is material to their ability to be able to pay back a bond, then at that point in time, that's where the bond trustee will generally step in and do whatever it is they need to do.
So I'm looking at this section 6.05 of one of the indentures, right? It says
section 6.05 of the indenture.
It's called liens and claims. It says, subject to any rights of the USA, GWA shall keep the system and all parts thereof free from. Okay, it says judgments from mechanics and material men's liens, and then here's the part. And from all liens and claims of whatsoever nature or character, to the end that the security provided pursuant to this indenture may at all times be maintained and preserved. And the authority shall keep the system and the revenues free from any liability which might hamper the authority in conducting its business or operating the system. So I get the part about, for having to wait for a judgment or an actual lien placed by the court, waiting for all appeals, etc. But it also says claims of whatsoever nature or character. The claims have been made by Cortec. The counterclaim was made in a suit that was brought by the government of Guam and then joined by GWA. And then the judge came down with the decision and order that explicitly states Cortec has an ownership interest in this lot where the Northern District Wastewater Treatment Plant sits, which is, of course, GWA's largest and most expensive asset. And so, is GEDA saying that that's not? It's not its interpretation that this needs to be disclosed to creditors?
No, I think, the fact that it's already, it's something being in the news, right? And that, generally that in and of itself, there's a difference between a required disclosure, right?
Okay.
And generally, and the kind of the things that come up as a result of news announcements and things along those lines, right?
Okay.
And I think that the last conversation between bond counsel and GWA that GEDA was a part of, it's not at the point where it's not at the point to be disclosed. As for the required disclosure, it's called an EMMA notice. EMMA, EMMA stands for Municipal Electronic. Here, I have Troy asking us.
Hi, Tina.
Hi, Troy.
What's up, girl?
MSRB has this platform called EMMA.
Okay.
Electronic Municipal Marketing Disclosure Page. And that's where, investors go to track their bonds, where all the reporting is done.
Okay.
But what happened in the case that you're that everybody files their judgment. GWA files for dismissal because of, whatever their argument was.
Yeah, the motion for summary judgment.
An interest, and so the judge determined that they have an interest in the case, but not necessarily that they are awarded anything. And so they haven't gone to the actual proceedings yet. This is just the first part of who has input on what.
Yes, no, I understand, but due to her decision in order, the decision in order, they were the parties were asking the judge to say that Cortec has no ownership interest, and the judge came back, denied their motion for summary. They were asking for motion of summary. They filed a motion for summary judgment based on statute of limitations and Cortec having no standing because they have no ownership interest. The judge came back and said, I am denying your motion for summary judgment, and here's the reason on the statute of limitations. But the part that interests us most is where she says, and it's because Cortec does have an ownership interest in the land.
It is, yeah, and I think again, counsel is reading it, but they haven't gone to the full court hearing, and so yes, she did get into more detail, but that was not a decision against GWA. It was just a decision to say that it appears that
Cortec will be included in the ongoing litigation.
Correct.
Okay. So, the other thing I wanted to ask was that disclosure that you were talking about in 2020, Mel.
The POS, and OS. Yeah, the OS.
I heard that I'm sorry. Was it yeah? I think it was the disclosure. I'd heard that ORIC didn't sign that as would be normally required, and that GWA's counsel signed it. Is that correct?
I don't know. I have to take a look.
ORIC drafted the entire document.
Yeah.
But did ORIC sign it?
I want to say that they're noted on it. I don't know that anybody else signed on the document, but everybody, ORIC was the author of the document, and everybody just signed off electronically.
And the GWA counsel didn't make any changes to that document? Do you know?
All changes, all edits reflect everybody's comment up to that point, yes.
Okay, maybe I'm getting the notes wrong on this, but I understand that there's some sort of document, and I believe it was the disclosures to creditors, that when the bond was being floated or refinanced or whatever that was, that ORIC didn't sign it as ORIC normally would, but GWA's counsel signed it, which would have been wrong. Do you know anything about that?
That was never brought up to my recollection, but I don't know that anything was not normal other than it happened during COVID, so everybody was electronically signing off on it.
That was the closing we did at GWA, right? In Mendiola?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that there was nothing there that was
Nothing that was out of the ordinary, aside from not being in person.
I mean,
Okay.
if they had any concerns, they wouldn't have been able to issue their letter at the closing.
Okay.
The attempts and everything is according to order.
Okay. Do you guys have these documents online, by the way? Or are they online with GWA? Do you know?
They are online on the website, so in our response, we can refer it to you.
Okay, if you could.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's good. It's the most boringest document ever.
I know. I know. But thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate your time.
Sure. Troy, what your questions got me thinking about the port. A couple of years ago, when the port, when the settlements were made with the employees, right, the port employees.
Yeah.
Question actually did come up about does it get disclosed to investors? And that's because the port council at the time said, I think we do file a notice, or we do put something on Emma, and then bond counsel's response to that was, well, no, not at this time, because it's not. This is not materially affecting the ability to pay back the bonds, and so
They've already had to
so lawsuits don't always, it's just kind of crafting your message. Lawsuits don't always lawsuits don't always cause any, or generally cause problems for bonds unless they cause problems in the payback of those bonds, the ability to pay back on those bonds.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I'm sure you know that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll wait for you, but your responses via writing though, and thank you, Tina, for getting me those documents, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, you guys. You guys have a nice weekend. Okay. Bye.